Hey, I'm getting better each day.
Oh, good.
Well, let's get our heads together and just try to figure out what's going on.
Well, there's a lot going on. I picked up a little bit of some of the themes about the inverted bond yield curve, and I knew that that was a key when we move into a recession, but I forgot, exactly what the mechanics are. But after I listened to the X22 report, yesterday's report, which I, just sent out,
Right.
he made it look pretty clear. You've got a 2-year bond and a 10-year bond, and when the 2-year bond is equal to the 10-year bond, it's like, what's the point of having the 10-year? The 10-year bond becomes worth less.
Uh-huh.
Why should you, commit to 10 years, I guess, is what's insinuated. And he shows graphing, where we've gone into recession, that this is indeed where the two of them have crossed one another, and we're just, a hair away from that. Now, tomorrow we got the Federal Reserve meeting, and more than likely they're going to raise rates.
Mm-hmm.
And, this guy, I don't know his name, I wish I did, from X22. It's probably been mentioned, but it's too quickly to pick up on, for me anyway.
Well, it is right at the beginning. Yeah, Zipso. And I don't know if it's
Yeah, and sometimes I
Zipso.
skip over the beginning, so that's another reason why I miss it.
Yeah,
Trying to save a few minutes here and there.
but it's something like
Yeah,
that. It's Zipso, and I think it was. It's episode. Is it part of the episode?
yeah, that's his name, episode. That's
It's
good.
Zipsode. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, anyway, he's insinuating that Trump and Powell are in this together to raise the rates, to bring the market down, or, the reason. So it's not put on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think that's a critical event, raising those rates. Maybe that's why that factors into what Murdoch was saying. The 25th is when we're going to get the word. Now I see Patrick saying, he has a source or sources are saying we're supposed to get our 800 numbers before, the Zimbabwe Prime Minister speaks on Wednesday. So we'll see. It's all very interesting, and it's all important. We just don't know, what causes what to happen.
And isn't it interesting that Iraq's supposed to be voting on the president and the prime minister tomorrow or the next
Oh,
day?
it's tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I glossed over that a little too quickly in reading the notes. Yeah, I keep hearing, they're going to vote. They voted, and then you hear that nothing happened. So I get a little scrambled.
Yeah, you're not the
Uh,
only
you
one.
know, and I think it's one of those things where no one wants anyone to, figure things out. So it's always kept a little uncertain or delayed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this could be part of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, you know, they're saying that Steve Mnuchin was caught. He's indicted. There's a rumor. Shelton is playing up on that.
Mm.
Shelton, okay, he's a pretty conservative guy. That's pretty strong for him to come out and say that because he's either part of UST or closely aligned with it.
Well,
Um,
where'd you hear Shelton? Because I haven't seen him for a long time.
I haven't. It was reported by
Oh,
highlights from Dan
okay, gotcha,
in his
gotcha.
summary, I think,
Right, right.
in the last couple of days. So, but I wonder if it's just a game to keep everyone off balance.
Yeah.
Oh, Mnuchin's been holding everything up, and everyone's looking over here. Well, the guys are taking care of business over there. But today we saw Steve standing behind Trump with
Yeah.
Pence and Larry Kudlow and the other guy. I don't know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're all part of the cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
or administration at the signing with the Korean trade tariff trade agreement, I should say. So so maybe he was put there because Donald is not going to fire him, but who knows? If he's indicted, maybe Donald will say, "Well, have to see what happens." Someone said he doesn't have any control over that. That's the Department of Justice doing their thing. Can't be interfering. So that just didn't seem very realistic. So we'll see. And the X-22 report, they talk about Rosenstein, is he going to be fired or resign and so on. And I thought, well, wait a minute, Trump's at the United Nations and he's coming over to the White House and they find out he's talking to Kelly. And someone reports that after he left the White House, they walked out to the parking lot and they were both smiling. But the game is, as I'm learning more, if you fire him, someone else automatically moves
right.
in his
and
position.
If he resigns, then
Trump, then you get you have a lot of options.
He can appoint him. Yeah, he has a better. He has more control. Who does it?
There's a game going on, and they're playing it out in public for what reason? I'm not to keep everyone, paying attention to the story, because maybe when things flip, they need everyone to be in tune with what's been going on.
And I don't know how this Kavanaugh and this Ford thing. I mean, it sounds like everybody's turned on Ford. I mean, why in the world should she even bother?
Well, you see, I'm just kind of catching up. I watch the news, but I don't quite catch everything. I get bits and pieces, and it all depends on who you're listening to, what they want you to hear. But in this X-22 report, he's saying, well, she said there were 3 people that were there were witnesses, and they're basically saying, no, not interested, no thanks, don't want to come to supporting that.
And they don't remember.
Yeah, and so it's getting to look a lot more flimsy, and the question is she really going to come forward if she doesn't get any support?
And he's come up with calendar with the events of where he is all those times.
Who?
Kavanaugh. He came up with a calendar of events his family did. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's more information for me to.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just generally speaking, don't know all the facts, but it's just a political smear campaign, and
I think they're just letting it happen because they want to prove that we're giving her an opportunity, even though there's all these things stacked up against her. They know that it's not going to pass muster.
Yeah.
And so, let her come.
They have to. Otherwise, if they resist, then they lose a lot of the women's vote. And
well, they may pick up some. If there were some Republicans that were teetering, they're firm in place, and there'll probably be a few Democrats say, "I'm not going to play along with this." And then Kavanaugh will get in, and he'll probably stop.
Maybe. It's really hard to know, right there in between.
If they force it ahead of time, then he won't get it.
The thing with women is very, very visceral.
Yeah.
Now, I saw a panel that CBS conducted of Republican women, and they all thought Kavanaugh was fine. They weren't all upset, which I thought was pretty gracious for CBS to put out, a little bit of the other side. And, so we'll see. And the whole, what was mentioned by Fulford about, and Lindsey Graham questioning Kavanaugh about military tribunals. Yes, we're under martial law and so on. And I guess I didn't understand who that was intended for until it was suggested that Fulford said it was get Bush to back Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of head games out there. Depends on who you're trying to influence. And it just seems like reading his read of Q. I have to follow someone who's following and paying close attention.
Yeah.
Is that they're all turning on one another at the top, and
Yep.
it's all unraveling, all falling apart, and it's going our way.
Yep.
It's just it's kind of like, at what point does the jalopy fall into 100 different pieces? We're reaching that point where it can just disintegrate.
Yeah, and it'll start snowballing, and then just there's no hope.
Yeah, it's really, really great. And I'm watching the scroll this morning on the news, just trying to keep up with what's going on. And we got a trade agreement with Korea. Oh, there he is. He's signing with them, and they're saying nice things to one another. Moon and Trump, and Trudeau is going to get involved with the agreement, with the negotiating this week. It sounds like they're trying to wrap things up. And now, I just have to. This gal, Erin Scott, who I have a hard time listening to her for very long because she hams and haws so much. But she said, on the third, Kavanaugh, there's supposed to be a vote by then for him.
Right.
And she said way back, I forget what year, in The Economist magazine, which is a Rothschild magazine, central banker magazine, that they said way back that on October 10th, 2018, they're talking about collapse, 28 to 48 hour event. Okay, that's something to make note of. Now, on the 15th, that's the date that Russia and Turkey and maybe Iran all agreed that would be the date that the militants would have to lay their arms down. I just put that out there in case that might show that might be kind of the cutoff date for Chisara for these people.
Mm-hmm.
And and then Erin Scott brought up November 11th. Of course, we know about that. Then there's the election before.
What'd you think of that speech of Moon in North Korea?
Well, I think it was one of those feel-good things. It's about getting people behind you and the pageantry, and it's historic. It's kind of like Reagan and, taking down the wall.
That's exactly what I was thinking, yes.
Yeah, it's about the reunification. It's,
that was huge.
We're so used to being split, divided, at war with one another that it's a surprise, it's a refresh. It's, kind of like the end of the war, Maybe like when we were able to celebrate after World War II, when Americans were around then, but, that was a good time. And, these guys are moving along. They still haven't gotten into the details about denuclearization, but it could be that they wanted to get these kinds of things rolling to get the people behind it. And one of the things that occurred to me was South Korea coming to an agreement with the U.S. Sounded like there wasn't any rancor or anything because I didn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But my thought was, well, why would you? Make peace with Donald, and and you're going to make all kinds of money working with North Koreans and bringing them up to speed and building their country. That's part of your country.
Yeah.
So that's the way forward for them. So there's going to be a lot of winning for everyone. I still haven't gotten to the Taylor thing. I was just finishing up with the X-22. I just haven't been around that much the last few days, but that's on my list of things yet to get done. Uh, but I found very interesting that Fulford and Operation Disclosure are basically saying the same things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Fulford is saying from, on the military side, which is code for Pentagon, you could say.
Right.
And I've always suspected that's where Patrick was getting his information from. And I think there's a strong white hat element in the Philippines where he's located. And I say that because of this other guy who was getting classified information in the Philippines. So, on other topics, but so it's an echo or confirmation, however you want to look at it. But it makes a lot of sense that how would you contain Israel? Okay, put a blockade on them, airspace.
Yeah.
Didn't realize this. The Chinese control the what do you call it? The port of entry.
Yeah.
On the private side and so on. And so, in a way, they can control them if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like the last one. And my God, if they're threatening to keep them out of QFS, in other words, they're not waiting for everyone, even though they want everyone to go.
Right.
Somehow,
Well,
it's being allowed to at least threaten to exclude one. Like Israel, and they're not wanting to miss out on the party going forward.
No, that'll flip them over real fast.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
they have to give up a lot, but they'll have to give up even more if they don't. Leverage.
Yep.
And Donald Trump is a master at this too, and
Oh yeah.
and he's working in conjunction with Xi and Putin on a lot of scores, even though they have sanctions and they're fighting over tariffs with China. I think a lot of that's pretense because it's all about deleveraging the globalist agenda.
It's just a show.
Yeah, I think so to a great extent. And they have to do that for their people who don't quite understand. Otherwise, they would have had it all nailed down months ago, and and people would be going crazy.
You have to remember that Trump he's in his element. I mean, he's good at it. It's the art of the deal, and he just.
I was just kind of feeling the same thing today. I said, well, I'm sure he gets up every day looking forward to the day, and he's seeing, getting things done like the tax reform and his first Supreme Court nominee and deregulation and finding the right people to head the departments, and probably getting a lot of information about who's who along the way.
Yeah.
And that's all made him stronger and more sure and able to build momentum. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and he really pulls.
I'm really having a ball.
He's pulling a crowd everywhere he goes.
Yeah, and he loves that. Yeah, it seems to really get off on that.
But
and he's really building the morale of the country, at least for those who have ears.
Well, what he's doing, he's not taking credit for himself. He said, "Hey, it was you. It's you. It's not just me.
All by himself.
We're doing it together. It's for you."
Yeah.
And
that's what a good leader should do.
And another thing that people keep forgetting is he's not getting paid for it. He's putting his money back into the, and that's what a good businessman does. He doesn't just steal from his own company. He reinvests it back in, and so that's what he's doing. He's reinvesting back in America, because that's like what a good businessman does.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's what comes to my mind is, he is running it more like a business.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what our country is about. It's the business of America's business, as my older friends used to tell me.
He's not letting special interests drive him. He's doing what he thinks is best for the country.
Yeah, he's really there for the people and for the republic for which it originally stood, and returning it to where it is, because otherwise the alternative is just so grim.
Well, he keeps preaching that enough. Eventually, it'll sink into some of these knuckleheads.
Yeah, and once they realize that a lot of people, committed awful crimes and treason among them, they'll wake up and
Yep.
get on board. And
Yep.
it's hard because people have been lied to so long, and they believed a lot of them. And I'm no different. I believed a lot of things, or just kind of went along, kind of half, not even with my eyes half open.
Yep.
This is what we do.
Well, and it didn't matter who we voted for. We were still voting for the same people.
That's right. That's right, Don.
They're on both sides of the fence.
You see, a long time ago, I stopped voting for that reason. And of course, here in California, I mean, it's kind of a foregone conclusion that the president would get the Democratic vote. Someone there, but I'm ready to register and get down into local politics. With my local representative.
Yeah. Go for it.
Even though I'm living in California now, because things are changing.
Yep, they sure are.
Things will really make a difference. We can make a difference. We can have more say in our future.
Well, I'm going to sign off, and I think each day is going to be even bigger and bigger until the end of the week. Shoot. Who knows?
Yeah, well, tomorrow, I was a little surprised that Trump was at the UN. Took me by surprise seeing that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But tomorrow he may be giving the speech in the morning, and then the Fed acts probably by the afternoon. And then Wednesday...
Zimbabwe?
Yep. And that's what I'm looking at for the next couple of days.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Don. Well, it's been... Yeah, I think you're feeling the same way I am. It's pretty exciting and wonderful. Everything's kind of going our way, and it's going pretty quickly.
It's going very fast. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Okay, well. Yeah.
Talk to you tomorrow night.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Night.
Bye-bye.